Hey guys, Mayflom here, and I am playing around with a lot of fun stuff here in the studio today. I've been cutting up a storm. Just tons and tons of things. I've got parties coming, the holidays coming, and my ScanNCut is helping me a lot. So I want to show you quickly in this video here today how the ScanNCut is helping me and what I am crafting here today. So what you're going to do is go in your ScanNCut, go in pattern, and you're going to pick whatever patterns you want to layer. Some of the basic shapes work really nicely, and of course there's always the flower section that works nicely. There's also some of the flourishes that work really well. It's just going to depend on what you're building, if you're building a layered star, flower, heart, whatever it might be. Since I'm building a layered flower, I'm going to be working in here. And you're going to want your very smallest size to be about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch smaller than the next size up. So you're going to want to make jumps of about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. That doesn't necessarily include leaves. That's just more for the stuff like, say, the petals and the various layers. So you're just going to pick whatever you want. Now me, I'm working with whole sheets of paper because I am making a bunch of these for a gathering of friends and I want them all to be similar. I'm doing full sheets of paper. If you were doing partial sheets of paper, as you will know if you've seen my videos before, if you push this button right here, it scans the mat in. So if you were doing a smaller batch or you wanted small scraps of paper, you scan that in, it'll show you what you've got, and then what you could do is just go in here and pick whatever other patterns it is that you want, add them in and cut those as well. Or if you're wanting more than one thing on your paper, and I'm going to go in here and do two things. I'm going to size this down and I'm going to up, let's go about there and go about there. So, and by the way, guys, you can either, I'm going to say okay. If I push this button, it'll adjust them so it fits best, but because I am working on an 8.5 by 11 paper and because I know where I want these guys, I'm just moving these by hand. But anyhow, if you want multiple patterns on your same piece of paper, go ahead and do like I'm doing. If, however, you want scraps, and the scraps are similar in thickness, you do not want to be doing this with papers that are different thicknesses. But you could get all your patterns onto one paper, or as many as will fit on one sheet here. Scan it in so you make sure they're in the right spot, and then go ahead and cut. Or, like I said before, what I'm doing multiple leaves and flowers and snowflakes and things, multiple on one sheet of paper. Okay, once you have everything that you want, you're just going to press start and let it cut. Once you have an assortment cut out, you are ready to play. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with a piece. Let's see. Do I want to start with that one? I'll just pick one of the bigger pieces here. And what I like to do with flowers, I like to just bend them a little bit. Okay, and then I'll get one of these. I will get one of these. I'm going to put the solid behind it, and I'm going to use hot glue because it's faster. You do not have to, though. You could use liquid adhesive, or even sometimes dry adhesive will work. But what you're going to want to do, now notice how these two I made intentionally about the same size, and you see how you can only just barely see little peaks of the one coming through? That doesn't necessarily cause any kind of problem. Now I'm deciding if I want a couple leaves or just one here. It's not necessarily a problem. It's just something I'm pointing out because you may or may not want to only have a little bit peeking out. Things to remember would definitely be that these lower layers, they're not going to show a lot, okay? You're going to see peaks of them, but you're not going to see a ton of them. So keep that in mind as you build, because if you're not going to see a whole lot of it, you may consider exactly how much you're doing. Now this is vellum, and it's got kind of a silver sparkle to it. Vellum does not need very much hot glue at all. I like to kind of spread it all around there. But hot glue is really good for vellum, and it's really good for vellum because if I use it, it dries so quickly that the vellum doesn't have a chance to curl up and get angry with me. And these little flowers here, I'm gonna kind of do the same thing here with putting them up Not a lot, just a little bend. Okay, and I'm going to put that in the center. And you just layer, go bigger to smaller. Now what I want to show you, I've got a little snowflake here that I'm going to put on the top. Now some of the layers, it's going to depend on what you use, okay? And you can use whatever material you would like. But if you're using pattern papers, they should be like, this one is a smaller kind of a print. If you're using different mediums like textured cardstock with a vellum and a non-textured cardstock and a pattern paper, if you're mixing and matching with them, I do think it turns out a little bit better. And I think it turns out a little bit better just because I like the result when you've got the variety of color as well as texture. Okay, so I also like, you notice I picked a really dark and a really light, and I try to mix it up here. And I'm going to add that little leaf in here. Now it's up to you if you wanted to add in, do some painting, do some, I don't know, you could do whatever you wanted. You want to ink the edges, you want to play around. Me, I want to keep it pretty simple. I want to just put a nice little button here in the middle, and I've got one down, a dozen more to make. Now here's the great thing. We can use these on place settings. You can put this, I've put these around a napkin ring. You can use them to top a gift. You can use them on a gift tag. You can make this the centerpiece of a card. There are a lot of ways that you can layer and create your own fun little shapes. Now this one, like I said, this is a flower, which is probably my favorite, but you could make a star, you could make a heart, you could make layered circles, you could mix and match. We could have put circles in here. I still could if I wanted to put, I'll just give you for example, this is a detailed vellum design that I have cut out. I could put this behind and layer even more. We could go big, we could go small. Just remember, mix up your mediums. And by that I mean your paper materials, not so much your mediums, but you want to mix up your paper materials. So I've got some really thin papers, some really thick, some dark, some light, some pattern, some solid. Mix those up, have fun with it, and really enjoy the process. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. I will see you next time. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment.